Hello and welcome to the channel. Thanks for stopping by. It's great to have you here. Today we're going to take a look at the Citizen AW5000-24E, another name that rolls off the tongue. This is Citizen's military style field watch. It's an eco drive driven watch as well, so it's powered by light, as they would say. Don't think it's particularly homage to any other watch. There's plenty of this style of watch around if you look. This one's slightly different in the one aspect, that eco drive. You don't get many solar powered watches, and this one is a particularly good example. Now this does come in another colour, it comes in a blue as well, which I'll pop on the screen. I think that's the 16L as against the 24E. It costs around £120 from Amazon. Although if you shop around you can get it just slightly cheaper than that. I will put a link in the description below. This uses the J810 movement, whereas the other Citizen that I reviewed recently used the E111 movement. I'll put a link to that review in the corner. Now, really the difference, I struggled to find what the difference was between the two different movements. Now, this one has a 240-hour power reserve when fully charged, so there may be something in that. It might be a slightly better newer movement, but I couldn't find anything where I could compare the two very easily. Now, the one thing that this does have different to the other watch, it uses ring solar, as Citizen call it, which is a different way of catching the light. Now, this is quite a large watch, so we've got 43mm diameter, so it is a reasonably sized watch as well for a field style watch. Well then, 49 lug to lug. Now these lugs, you see they are really rounded, coming down, giving you a 49mm lug to lug. Thickness is 13mm, so it's on the thicker side, and there's a reason for that, which we'll come to in just a moment. But it is on the thicker side of a quartz style watch. And it weighs 88 grams. Not the heaviest watch in the world. I'm sure that's made lighter by the fabric strap, but it is a reasonably sized watch. Looks good on my 8-inch wrist, which I'll show you in a bit. But I really like this watch. I'm starting to become a Citizen fanboy a little bit, I think. I need to be careful with that. And this watch is a full stainless steel build. It's a really nice finish on it. We've got this beautiful, sort of very fine brushing on the sides of the watch, which then follow around onto the lugs. That is also on the top of the bezel that's facing you. But they've highlighted that with this polished sort of leading edge of the bezel. And that really makes that bezel pop when it's not fully facing you. It's a really nice finish, a very clever way of just highlighting the bezel without having to do anything particularly mad. But it's a really nice finish on it, and I think that really adds to the finish of this watch. Now, crystal is just mineral crystal. It's very flat. It does sit slightly proud, as we can see, and you can see it is domed there. And it looks really good. Really nice to show off that dial. Crown is a simple one. It's quite a large crown, actually. It's continued that sort of brushing effect on it, but it's not signed. As I say, it seems quite a large one, but it looks really good. I think it really adds to the overall aesthetic of the watch. So the dial on this watch, we've seen this done lots of times. It's that military style field watch with 1 to 12 on the outside number track, 13 to 24 on the inside number track, all printed on in this lovely sort of lightish beigey brown colour to give that vintage style. We've also got Citizen above the pinion and Eco Drive below the pinion, again printed on onto this black matte background. Chapter ring is then the same colours replicated round. Indices every 5 minutes, and then minute markers there in between. And then at the 3, 6 and 9 we've got these little rectangles edged in orange, and at the 12 a triangle edged in orange, and those have LUME pips in them. I'll show you the LUME in a bit. So it gives you a point of reference with the hands so you can tell what time it is, and the LUME on this is very good. Also on the dial, we have a colour matched date window. Yes, at last. Good to see watches with colour matched date windows. It really does add to the aesthetic of this watch. If that was a white date window, I really do think it would detract from the look of this watch. That's also framed as well, which looks great. I prefer colour matched date windows. I don't know about yourselves. Let me know in the comments below. And then we've got the hands. Hands are simple sword style hands. We've got the minute hand, which is long and edged in orange, again to highlight it. Lumed as well. We've then got the hour hand, which is edged in black, as you can just see there. Sometimes you can't actually see that edging against the background. That is also filled with lume. And then we've got seconds hand, which is a needle style, again, orange on the tip with a little lume on there as well, which is superb. And the lume on this is fantastic. I have been in bed, because I wear my watch in bed, and at 5 o'clock in the morning I can look at this watch and the lume is still going strong. It is so good, it will just pick up during the day, and even if I walk into our kitchen from the garden, it starts glowing. It's fantastic. The other thing on this dial, you may have noticed that it sits really deep in the watch, and that is because of this band that runs around under the chapter ring, and that is the solar ring, and that is how this watch gathers light to charge the battery. So it doesn't gather it face on the dial like the other Citizen that I recently reviewed. It gathers it from the sides, sort of from 90 degrees. That solar ring is edged in sapphire crystal, and they use it to collect the light. It's used on several Citizen watches. I don't know if that's a new innovation by them, but it was certainly on one of their concept watches many moons ago, where the actual eco drive was built into the body of the watch, whereas this one is on the dial, and it's really good at collecting light. So lume on this watch is superb, as I said. Let me just pop it onto the screen now for you. There we go. As you can see, hands light up brilliantly, and then we've got the 4 lume pips just to give you a point of reference so you can tell the time, and that's ideal, and it glows brilliantly. I'm really pleased with the lume on this watch, probably the best one I've got, along with the other Citizen, to be fair. Now, case back on this watch is a nice screw down, pretty standard on the eco drive, I believe. Citizen eco drive. We've got the movement down here, J810. There's plenty of watches that use that movement. If you just Google Citizen J810, you'll see all the range. It's a very popular one. 10 bar, so it's 100 meters worth of water resistance, which is really good. I'm really pleased with that. It's not a screw down crown though, I forgot to mention that. Strap on this watch is a fabric style stitched strap, as you can see, that sort of military style again with those little stitches at the top. Really nice metal retainers around the holes. It's quite comfortable. It is quite stiff. It is just lined on the back with some sort of leather effect. It doesn't actually say genuine leather. Marked Citizen 20, it's a 20mm strap. And it fits really well. I'm on the last hole, or the last 2 holes I can get away with on my 8-inch wrist, which I'll show you in a few minutes. But it's actually quite comfy. It is a little stiff because it's quite new, but I do believe that will just break down over a period of time and become a really nicely soft strap. You could easily swap it out though, put this onto a NATO, or look really good just on a leather strap. And here it is on my 8-inch wrist. Sits really nicely. Again, I've got a bigger wrist than most, so that 49 lug to lug sits really nice. As I said before, I am on the last hole. I can get it on the one down as well. Double retainers on that strap. It's an everyday sort of style of watch. Certainly could wear it for business, no problem at all. I think it's a really good watch. Niggles that I would have, be nice to have sapphire crystal. I know it's probably being a bit cheeky, but that's possibly one of the fewer downsides onto this, with it being mineral. And it's quite a deep watch at 13mm with that solar ring extending the dial outwards, so it might sit too proud for some people. But I must admit, I'm fast becoming a Citizen Eco Drive fanboy. I'll put a link to the other watch that I reviewed recently at the end. Hope this has been useful. Thanks for stopping by. Please hit like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks.